Hi everybody, welcome to episode 35 of the Teesside Business Podcast. Today we've been very lucky to be joined by Chloe from Wonder Films.
Hey.
So we'll go through all the journey of Wonder and how you guys started and everything like that. So do you want to give us a bit of an overview of what kind of led you to start Wonder? Because you've got quite an interesting bit of a backstory with it, haven't you?
Yeah, apparently. Well, I think it's interesting, but I didn't realise that other people found it as interesting. So I guess where it all started, myself and my business partner Lou, we both went to CCAD, which is Cleveland College of Art and Design, which is now Northern School of Art, which sounds way better.
Yeah.
I think it packs a bit more of a punch.
Yeah.
So we both went there. We actually didn't meet there though. I did fine art and photography. That led me down into videography and filmmaking and all that sort of stuff. Lou did television and film. She went on at Teesside Uni and I stayed at CCAD. And then we sort of got normal jobs. And just did stuff that wasn't really very exciting. We didn't really enjoy it. We were I don't know, getting dragged down into the mundane, I guess. I don't know. But so we met because Lou was in a band.
Mm-hmm.
She's a guitarist. They needed a drummer. I'm a drummer.
Rick's a drummer as well. There's loads of people who seem to have flocked to this office who are in bands. I don't know why.
Maybe being in bands is cool and you attract cool people.
Maybe, but I am useless with any kind of can't sing, right. So maybe it's just a shortcoming I'm making for. I wish I could play musical instruments.
I can teach you drums.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like to wear drums sometimes in traffic. Yeah. Put a drum kit in somewhere. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, it's cool. Yeah. My train of thought is bands. Yeah, so we met. They needed a drummer. I was a drummer. We met. We were bonded over not feeling like we were doing what we wanted to do and all those things. So we bought a one-way ticket to Oz. We sold everything. Bought a one-way ticket. Headed over to Melbourne. Was in Melbourne for a little bit, then we went over to Sydney. While we were in Sydney, managed to get a lucky break and work on TV pilots while we were there. And then that re-sparked that passion, and we were we knew exactly in that moment that that's what we wanted to do. So we bought the gear while we were out there, packed light, set off on the road and started making promotional videos for tourism businesses. And used that as a way to travel through Australia. That took us to Vietnam and Cambodia and Thailand, and we just saw some amazing things and made some really cool videos, and that brought us eventually back around to the UK, back home. And we just came for Christmas, and we were just I wanted my mum's Christmas dinner, and
can't beat it.
I was I just wanted to, I don't know, I guess it was timing and everything, and we got asked to do some stuff while we were here, so instead of going back out, we were this is our moment. If we're ever going to do it, we're going to do it here, and we're going to do it now. So we set up here, put everything that we'd made into making it work here, and that was the birth of Wonder Films, I guess.
And I want to say that's just over a year ago.
Yeah. So about a year and a half.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago, if memory serves. So. We talked briefly before we started on the podcast, but you guys went through, I don't know the correct term of it, so I apologise for people listening, for the university's starter program incubator, I don't know the details of it.
Sure, yeah, so we were on, so we did a couple of months of of getting on our feet and stuff like that, and then we were sort of given the opportunity to apply for something that's called the Fuel program.
Okay.
And the Fuel program's amazing. If you've been on, if you've done a course in Teesside University, you can apply to go on this Fuel program, and that means that you can, if you've got a business idea, you go on, or if you're already a business, you go on and you pitch for funding at the end of it, essentially. And it's no strings attached sort of funding. You don't have to give anything away or anything. It's just you pitch for it, and there you go. You can have it and
that's sweet.
Everything. Yeah, it was really cool. That was I guess that was a turning point for us in that moment as well, because that was when we really developed who we are and who we wanted to be and what we were doing and what we didn't want to do, and it was like it gave us that space to really like figure shit out, you know.
Yeah, because there is no kind of like, there's no blueprint for kind of starting up a business. Obviously, there's loads of stuff you can find on YouTube and all. Every man and his dog will tell you how to run a business, but actually like to come up with one. So how do you find it? Obviously, we talk about it quite a bit on the podcast, but things are changing in Teesside, but it's never really been much of like a creative space. There's more and more creative companies now like coming out, but for a long time it was kind of, there was that uphill kind of thing of teaching people that they need professional photography or videography and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how have you found out like coming in and like, I love the way you guys have linked it, like with social, obviously, but like Beat the Scroll, like I thought that was like a phenomenal, like tagline and stuff. Like I wish I'd come up with it. Like honestly, it was like such a like
trademark now. So.
Yeah. So how have you found it, like going in like with businesses and stuff like that, this like over the last year?
Do you know what I think? Like I totally get what you're saying. The North has a bit of a reputation for like being behind a little bit, being behind London, being behind Manchester, and I don't know, like it feels like it's not quite where everyone else is. However, like when we came and when we decided to do this, it felt like we were at the start of like a real big change, and I feel like in the past year and a half, I don't know whether it's just because we've changed, but I feel like the area's like grown so much, and there's so much opportunity, and businesses are so open to digital and social, and you guys are like absolutely booming, and like because there's that like people are starting to get it, and I think people are like way more creative and want to do stuff and want to stand out and want to do like these things, and like I guess we sort of like tuned into that, and like if like with Beat the Scroll and stuff, it's because it's saturated, the market is saturated, and if you don't do something like really special, then you're not going to stand out. You've got to be that, you've got to be like plus 100% like all of the time.
And it's something like we find obviously within marketing and things like that, it's convincing people, look, like doing video now isn't like super extra, that's like the entry level like that you should be doing. Like if you're not doing it, you are going to lose out really quickly. And I think a good thing of like how it's changing in Teesside, like going creatively towards tech and digital and all that kind of thing, and creative, is because the generations are changing. Now it's coming in, like the generations coming that does value that kind of thing, where it used to be like blokes in suits kind of like sat there and like didn't really like look at creative as like the same way. So it's kind of like we're getting to the point now where we can push the boulder over the hill, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and like I think social media is like that is what's drove that forward, and I think that's given younger people opportunity to make a business and make space and be creative in ways that they couldn't do before, or they couldn't do it as easily before. And I think because that's happened, and because like businesses like ours have tapped into that and have felt that movement, that's why that creativity is gone to that next level, and why people are more open to it, because it's so massive. You just can't avoid it if you want. I don't know. I mean, there's probably exceptions. We would probably say there wasn't, but I'm sure people would say that there is. But like, if you want your business to be successful, then it needs to have some sort of presence online. And sort of
like I'm originally, like years and years ago, from print advertising, and I always joke that I wish it was still like that, because it was so much easier to design and set a print ad and put it in like the Gazette and like go, there you go, there's your marketing done for a month, rather than like us now having to produce like a minimum 30 pieces of content a month. You know what I mean? Like it was like back then, it was like if you got a corporate video done, it was like, oh my god, this is like an amazing like forefronted type thing. And now it's kind of like, well, if you don't have video work and like people can actually see who's behind your brand and like building it, then you're going like, basically all the people who are going to be making buying decisions over the next 5 to 10 years are the people who consume video now. So if you don't, like the people who are reading your PR, like this is my own personal opinion, so like take it with a pinch of salt, but the people who are reading like press releases in the Gazette and all these kind of print publications, like they're retiring soon, you know what I mean, or selling
Yeah.
up or whatever. It's the other people who are now going to be coming in who are
all
like,
those millennials.
yeah, those
getting all the
terrible
stick.
millennials, yeah, these bloody kids. But you're going to see it, like, tomorrow. I know you're exhibiting at the Teesside Business Summit.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to be working there, but you're going to see, like, one of the things I like about, like, going to trade shows and when we do it is that I like seeing all the stands, how they creatively come up with ideas to market.
Like all the sweets, all the cakes.
Yeah. Like, there's the classic
pens.
thing of have a cupcake, have a pen.
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough now anymore. Like, at the last one, I can't remember what business it is, so if you're listening, please get in touch and I'll give props. But he was giving away, like, charging blocks, like solar panel charging blocks.
Clever.
Yeah, they were all branded up. But he, like, they went like that because everybody thought that's
Sure,
amazing. Yeah. So, but I'm interested to see tomorrow we had a previous company on who basically does events for people, like, because she knows how to market it properly and all the lead up with it and that kind of thing.
So you're like interested to see what she does.
I don't know if she's there actually, but I'm interested to see what, like, people do in their creative kind of, like, ways around it. Obviously, it is a big event, and this will go out, like, after the event and things like that. So
Yeah, I think. Well, okay, it is hard, and you especially events like this, you're thinking of what you can do that would be different to what other people are doing, and there's a good amount of pressure there, isn't there? But
yeah.
And giving away Kit Kats isn't necessarily enough now, but I still like it when people give away Kit Kats.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, we'll be trying to blag a couple of cupcakes tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. I think with us we're doing so we're doing a competition, we're doing a giveaway, but we're doing it in a way where we want people to really engage with us and our brand. We're going to get people to be using the hashtag We Love Wonder Films and just go wild and get people engaging with the brand, and I think that's sort of that's where we see where we want to be, I guess.
One of the things that we were really surprised about is, obviously, we did all the marketing stuff for it last year as well as this year.
Very
the community sense around the hashtag for the Tees Valley Business Compass. Like, it was trending on Twitter, and there was so many businesses that weren't at it but also contributing. Like, there was 1,000 visitors through the door and stuff like that. I was really surprised how actually big and community driven it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, and it's going to be even bigger this year. They've got, like, a startup incubator or something there that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with Launchpad and Fuel. And
I think that's what that it's part of. I'm not sure. Normally the mayors are there. Ben and Andy are probably going to pop in at some point, I think.
Yeah, I think Ben's like opening. Yeah. I heard that.
Obviously, like, Ben's really passionate about. Obviously, he's been on the podcast and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's really exciting. I think, like, the amount of, like, passion in the area and people raving about the things that are going on and what we're doing, and, like, this sector's booming and this sector's booming and digital's, like, flying at the minute, and it's just like, yeah, it's super exciting, and it's really, like, inspiring to see people like Andy and Ben and those sort of business leaders, and, like, just talking so positively about the area, because we went through so long of people just, like, putting it down constantly.
And everybody's, like, in, like, saying that position, that they're really proud to, like, be talking about it now. Definitely. And things like that. So have you had, like, when you got started, were you, like, did you have any collaborations with businesses and stuff like that? Is there anybody, like, who were, really cool and kind of helped you out when you start that you want to give some love to, or anything like that? Or people?
Oh my God, there's, like, heaps. There's so much. I know we get so much support. There's so many businesses that, like, that have been behind Wonder, like, from the start. I think, like, I guess Teesside University, we've done so much work with them, so much, and they keep coming back and wanting us to do this mad thing and this mad thing, and so I guess, like, they've been amazing. I think you know Jo from HR Alchemy.
Yeah. Jo's coming on the podcast very shortly.
She's incredible. She's amazing. Like, she's introduced us to, and, like, I've signed NDAs and I can't really talk about it.
Yeah.
I will eventually. I'll be able to talk about it, but I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jo's introduced us to some amazing people, and we've also worked with her, so she's been incredible. There's, like, Russ and Jill in BNI, and I know that BNI is, like, one of those things that you sort of, I don't know, like, people are a bit iffy about, but like, but I think what they do is incredible, and what Russ and Jill in particular are doing, driving their brand forward. It's so like, it isn't that stuffy guys in suits sort of vibe.
Yeah, I think that's changing.
Yeah,
Like
for
it's
sure.
changing as well. Like we've talked about like networking. We talk with people about a lot, and it's either people either kind of like love it or hate it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like we've been in it in the past and all that kind of stuff. So like I can. It definitely has a place.
Yeah, and it's horses for courses. Like, and maybe it works for that horse on that course for so long, but maybe they run out of course.
Yeah,
So-
or it's kind of, like there's like Google AdWords for some businesses, absolutely like the return on it's like ballistic.
Sure.
I don't think it's a good avenue of business, but I can't argue with the results they get because it's right for some and not for others.
Yeah.
And network marketing and things like might be.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like there's some great like networking events on like there's like in the Fastlane events that Lou Murray does and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
they're
Like
incredible.
Yeah, like I've never been to one actually, but I know.
You should come.
But I should come because obviously I've known Lou for quite a while, and Lou, if you're listening, I'm sorry. And there was a great one that we were going to, but we got booked by a guy called Pete Noble. I've known Pete for like, I must be 15 years, and he does like Nerf Wars.
Oh my god, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, so it's basically exactly as it sounds. Basically,
It's
you get a
amazing.
team, you go down, and basically you're all in a massive warehouse or somewhere, and all give Nerf guns, and then you shoot Nerf guns at each other for an hour, and then
What better way to bond?
yeah.
Like,
Like let's all be honest, no one's doing that as a networking event. It's
No.
just really cool to go shoot Nerf guns at everybody. So there's loads of cool stuff like that happening in Teesside,
There
which
is,
is like
yeah.
a really good thing.
we sort of like, we do a lot of indoor bouldering, and we've met so many people and taken so many people along
Yeah.
to those, and I suppose I should like mention as well, so we recently took on Gary Lumby, and he's been like absolutely phenomenal for our business. And
Is that as like a non-exec?
yeah, like
type thing.
Yeah, like that. He's a consultant for us, but
Yeah.
it's sort of it's along those lines anyway. But he's just like he raves about this area. He's so well connected, and he's all about networking and driving businesses forward and stuff like that. So like he'd be really cool for this podcast actually.
I think I have spoke to him about it previously, but I've never met Gary. I know who he is, but I've never met him personally. But I think I might have spoke to him a little bit about
He's
it,
a
but we
super
just
cool guy.
we didn't get a match up. Or so Gary, if you're listening, please get in touch with
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, we would love to have you on. Like we'd have anybody on really. Like we're not like a lot of.
That makes me feel way less special.
Yeah. No,
Take
well,
them
you were the
all.
first videography company that we've had on. Oh no, you're not. Well, I don't know if I count Dave from Excel, who's our first podcast. He's more like TV production, really.
Okay, I feel like
So-
I need you to say I'm the first something.
Yeah, you're definitely the first videography company that I would class as videography.
Okay, cool. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
yeah. So, what's happening with Wander at the moment? What's on the horizon? What's going on with the business? What have you got coming up?
Man, we got so much going on. So this week, which will be a different week to when this goes out,
Yeah.
but this week we've just moved into our new space. So we've just moved into Boho 5. We're on like 4th floor, so like totally everybody come and check it out. And
Which is the big orange building near the cinema,
Yeah.
for anybody who doesn't know it.
yes, yeah. So it's like, I guess it's just like the whole Boho zone and everything is like incredible. It's really cool space over there. So yeah, we've just moved into there. We've took on, we haven't announced it yet, so but I'm trying to think like when this is gonna go out.
Yeah, like this will go out next week. Like,
Cool.
so
So yeah, so we've taken on a new member of staff. So we took on a full-time filmmaker. He's called Jack. He's absolutely incredible. We've got Simon, who is like our absolute whiz kid edit guy. We've got a really cool team that's happening at the minute, and then we've got some really big clients that, like I said, we've got some NDAs, but we're working with some really cool clients here as well. So we've got like Mabel Mead. They're just Mabel now.
yeah,
Yeah.
full Mabel, full
Yeah,
stop.
just Mabel.
Yeah.
Those, so we're working really, really close with those guys. But yeah, there's, oh my god, like so much stuff. It's amazing.
We know the guys really well over there. I know Lee really well, like Leezo and stuff. Their market managers used to work for me.
That's
Holly.
cool.
So yeah, they're like a really cool thing. So you mentioned like editing and like the creative process in there.
Sure.
So were you guys like, is it, do one of you prefer filming and the others like to edit, or does everyone do a bit of everything? Or
Yeah, so I guess it started out as like Lou and I on the road, and we did everything. So like both of us are filmmakers. We specialise in like different areas. So Lou's like mad into sound and doing all that crazy technical stuff, whereas like I'm more like, I don't know, like I like the story and the concept and all of that stuff.
The bit at the beginning, like coming up with a concept and the storyboard of what you can see what it looks like in your head, kind of thing.
And like I still love editing, but I definitely I prefer the bit where you put it together and you get the story in, and then I'm like, all right, someone else can tidy it up, because like I just my brain isn't as well suited for those sorts of things. So I guess in that way that's how it sort of started. But then now things are changing a little bit, and then Jack's going to be full-time filmmakers, which means that like obviously we do less and less, and we do less and less editing as well. So yeah, it's like, it's exciting. There's space for everyone, but
I think that'll be good for you, because then you can take on projects that you really want to and you're passionate about. Like, you won't turn anything away in all like projects, but you know, there'll be some that you like creatively kind of want to flex your creative muscles, if that makes sense. Which will allow you to kind of like dip in and out and stuff like that. So
yeah, like it's we love it so much that it's not something that we're ever gonna let go of completely. But then you know, when you've got a business, like doing business in itself is a job, isn't it? Like that, and that's what takes up most of the time. So like the thing that you started doing and the thing that you loved is not the thing that you end up always doing. Yeah,
and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but obviously like I'm not a creative, but a lot of people who come to work here like say, look, I don't want all the palaver of running a business. I just want to make cool stuff. You know, so that's kind of like where we are, but it's definitely like a bit of a funny thing when it comes down to it, like but you know, it's really cool that you guys have like got so passionate about it, and it is like, again, I don't make, but I see it like it is a very rewarding experience to like, you know, having something in your head and putting it together, and like seeing the client that's so happy with it, like some of the guys here have worked and like their work's gone out like on ESPN and UFC Fight Pass and like on the UFC broadcast itself, and the guys that like, I'm like more pumped than them for it. Like, I'm so happy that like their work gets to be seen by millions of people, and they're like, oh, it's so good.
Like that's incredible. It is. There's like literally nothing beats that feeling of creating something from nothing for somebody and having them just be like absolutely over the moon with it, like ecstatic about it, and it just like fills you with all those like gooey good feelings. Yeah.
But it's like a lot of people don't realise how much work it takes to put like stuff together. Like, they kind of think that, you know, as soon as you've stopped recording, that's it, it's done. They don't realise all, like, that's just like the start of the process, and not everything that like goes behind it. Like, it's kind of
absolutely. We come across that a little bit. So like, I guess people don't realise that there's the pre-production, so that's like everything that goes in before. That's all the paperwork, so storyboarding and scripting and like creating the ideas and putting plans in place and risk assessments, and
or just logistically of organising people and like all that kind of stuff. Especially like if you're working with people in a business, just getting somebody to come in and do a video testimonial can sometimes be like absolutely solid, just to logistically organise everybody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then once you've got all that done, then it's time to shooting. Like, shooting is usually like, that's not necessarily the easiest bit, but it's the bit that takes the least amount of time, really. It's the actual filming of the project, and then the post-production, geez, that's the mama. That's the bit that takes the most amount of time.
Yeah, well, it's normally double shooting time. Like, that's how I always kind of like try and explain it to people. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's longer. You know, like, depends on the project.
I guess that's a good way of looking at it. And it depends on sort of the production value. So like it depends on what goes into it. Whether they want like people want special effects, whether they want like something that's like really fine tuned and really like loads of transitions and all of this stuff, or whether they want something that's like just like basic. They just want like
and there is like a massive sliding scale that like you know, like you can have like you know, we do stuff that's like sometimes like super raw, like on a phone that's meant to go out like on stories that'll disappear in 24 hours, and that's more like documenting type stuff. All of, like, you know, and then there's a sliding scale that goes up to.
It just goes up and up and up.
Yeah, to like, you know, like we were talking the other day about. Oh no, it was the guy in your place. Sorry, I was talking about the new Macs that have come out that are like 10 grand to start, and the monitor itself is like ridiculous and all that kind of stuff. And like we couldn't, I think it's 7 grand for the monitor or something like that. Like, and we were like, we can't think of anybody apart from somebody who has an unlimited budget, like in movies, would even think about.
Like, imagine what you could like. Imagine all the cool things you could get with that. Like,
and
is it that much better? Is it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know yourself, like I always say, like creative's the variable. Like somebody can create something that looks absolutely amazing and have so much impact on, like, you know, a phone.
Yeah.
Like, you could give me the best equipment in all time and I'll produce crap because, like, that's not what it is. But
you'd create.
Yeah, but like, but you know what I mean. Like, it's like creative people could do like
I get
this
what
stuff.
You're saying.
Yeah, and there is such a kit. Like, it's one of the things when people come in, like, especially if they're in that kind of space or they do it, they're always like got loads of kit questions and stuff. We get like a lot of messages from people who run in their own podcasts about how we run ours and all that kind of stuff. Cool. But like, kit's like one of those things where is a never-ending type thing.
And like it's never, you can never have enough kit. There's always something else that maybe it's new, or maybe it'll make this better, or whatever. You can never have enough of it, and you'll never be finished. But I think it's also very like subjective as well. So like you might prefer these headphones that are like 100 quid to the ones that are like 1,000. You just might prefer them. They might feel better. They might to you sound better, or like you might prefer like a Lumix camera to like a 5 grand Canon camera. I don't know. It's just like super subjective to. I guess what you're saying about like what you can creatively, what you can do with that, and what you feel comfortable using as well. Yeah.
So is there any businesses in Teesside that either you would like to collaborate with, or you would like to work with, or you know what we would actually really like to work with, like wedding photographer that doesn't do video or something like that? Is there anything for that kind of stuff that like we?
Like a really good question. I don't know, man. Like, I guess. Oh man, I think, is it so stereotypical to be like, oh yeah, well, we want to work with anyone. Like, And I know, but like, I think there's like two scales, right? Okay, there's the really cool brands that we'd like freaking love to work with, like I don't know, like craft breweries and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, just something like that the brand is already on point and looks amazing.
It's easy to create cool stuff for.
Yeah, and they're probably already there and they're already with you. But then there's also like there's something to be said for like the brands that like they don't really know what they want to do, and they know that maybe they're not as creative as they want to be, and they're not as cool and slick as they want to be. And if you can help take those brands and make them look like they want to look, and make them all like cool and hip and down with the kids, so then like there's something to be said for that as well. So in a roundabout way, and after tangenting, I guess my point is like I'm totally open to speaking to anyone, and even if someone just wants like advice, maybe they want to know how to do it themselves or whatever, like I just want to like connect with people, you know.
Yeah, you're very similar to me. Like, you know, we'll have like a cup of coffee with like anybody and talk and stuff like that. Like, you know,
how interesting are people?
Yeah. It's like I always think like the best thing that like I think about the podcast is that I get to sit down and learn about so many different businesses and things like that, like which I find like, you know, really cool. Like some people might not be bothered. Like one of the areas that I find really interesting is like venture capital and investing and stuff like that. So I'm like, look, I really want
blows my mind.
Want to do one. We have got some great investors in Teesside. I want to do like a roundtable type discussion about like, if you want to get investment, this is what you need to look for. Like this is how you pitch it. Like, you know, and like pitch meetings and all that kind of stuff, and like really talk about.
So cool.
But it's very popular, like out of the area. Like if you go to like even like Newcastle, Leeds, and all the way down south, people who start up businesses raise capital before they start.
Yeah.
I've got this idea for whatever it is I want to raise money. So because that does help you start.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, in staff costs and equipment or whatever it is that you need. Where in Teesside, we kind of like people just start the business, get like a couple of years down the thing, and then go, how do we get funding? How do we get money?
Sure.
Kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and you're all right, like, they just make it happen and then look for it. So
Yeah, completely different mentality, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think like it's the same. You hear about that in the States as well. Like in the States, they market the business before they start the business.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like to us that's so alien. Like,
yeah.
Like usually in Britain and the UK, and you just like you don't really think about marketing's like that's the last thing we do.
Yeah,
like, we do all this stuff first, but
Yeah.
like in America they like to see the power of like marketing the business, so like they do it before it even goes out there. Like it's crazy.
It's like the evaluation process that really blows my mind, because like you might have somebody come in and go, right, I'll give you 20 grand for 50% or 40% of your business, and people are like, yeah. So when I was like, but that means that your business is only worth 40 grand.
Yeah.
But on the other thing, we'll give you like, you know, we're going to give you like $1 million for 10%, and it's like, okay, so you'd like value this at 100 like million. I know these are very like pie in the sky type figures.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how like, you know, like
It is. It's such a tough decision. I really feel for people that start. And there's those people that have like such an incredible idea, and they're doing that, and they're trying to raise funds for it and stuff, and the thought. I don't know, the thought of like giving up like a part of your dream and your business and your baby to get like you said, like this, it could be they might really need 20 grand.
Yeah.
And they might be willing to do that for 20% or something,
Yeah.
and that's like a really big amount of a business.
Oh yeah, like it's, you know, let's not play around. 20 grand's a lot of money, like. But it can kind of like some people like. I never knew if I would like to let go of a bit of it or like some. But then again, would you rather a smaller slice of a bigger pie? Like, you know, like it depends
that's what
on.
you've got to weigh up.
Yeah.
Like if you don't give up, will you make it?
Yeah.
So-
Or like sometimes like you might not want to be like a real, like I think there's so much said for like not being a super large company and like keeping
Sure.
some, like a lot of people become miserable, like grow a company, and
so
it turns
true.
into something that they like, you know, they end up being like a business owner rather than what they actually really enjoyed making was like crafty stuff to go on Etsy, and that's what they really actually like doing.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it's 5 years down the line, they've got a massive multinational company and they don't do that anymore. And they're
Sure.
like, this is not what I wanted to do. Like, so I can
Yeah.
completely.
I guess like that's where like exit strategies and all
Yeah.
those things come in, and like what is the ultimate goal?
Yeah.
Is your ultimate goal to build it and sell it?
Yeah.
Or is it for life? Or
Yeah.
do you want to actually be a part of making the thing that you're selling? Like, or do you want to give that up completely? And
I think that's something, we're crap at in Teesside. We just start, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where everybody else kind of has all these plans, and when
Yeah,
people are like,
sure.
so what's your exit strategy? You're like, death. Like, I've got like nothing, like, you know.
I'm just gonna work myself into an early grave.
Yeah. Which all like entrepreneurs are doing. So when we get people who come on the podcast, we ask everybody the same 3 questions.
Cool.
And I'll tell you the questions first, and then come back to the
And
answers.
by the way, I have not been like prompted for this.
Yeah.
So
To be fair, most people, we do it at the end of the podcast, so either people know it and they've got it like ahead. Some people have really planned it. Some people don't know. Like it does, you know. So it's a good mixture of the two.
Love it.
I think that's best. So the first one is, what does success look like to you? And we ask it because we've had so many different answers. It's been brilliant. Some people have said when I'm earning this amount of money, when I can retire doing this. Some people are when I can spend more time with my family. You know, whatever it is, like it's great to see, like letting people know that it isn't a one size fit all type thing, and there's loads of stuff. The second one is, have you ever had a failure, or what you perceived as a failure at the time, that later put you on the path to success, or something good happening? Where it seemed like, popular answer that we get a lot of, like, people have been made redundant, so that's like, and that made them start the business that, like, you know, and it's worked out at the time, horrible, but led to something good.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is, have you got anything that you are obsessed by at the moment? And we've had people who've come on, like, with TV shows, gadgets. Ben Houchin was completely obsessed with, like,
I thought you said someone was obsessed with Ben Houchin.
No, that would be brilliant. If there's a person out there who wants to come on, I'll have you on just to say that. Just to embarrass Ben. But he was like, it was like all Alexa and stuff like that. Like we've had people TV shows, and when we had Dan Main on, he just bought that morning like a new drone, and like he was really excited about that. So there's loads of different ones. So it's just cool to like have a cool question. So we'll start with the first one of what does success look like to you?
Oh, that's such a good question.
It's not an easy one either.
It's not, and I think it probably changes a lot as well. Like
that's something that like what you might want now, like people like, but people could like get kids or whatever, and then your goals change and like
For
or the
sure,
business changes.
yeah.
Like no one's ever brought that up before actually, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I guess because I think it's already changed so much. So like, I think at first when it started, we were in Oz, and it was like, it was so that we could do that forever. Like we wanted to start it, and we wanted to be travel filmmakers, traveling the world, and that's what we wanted to do. And then we came back and we're like, well, actually what we want to do is grow this into something that people recognize in our area, and really like start like a movement and get people engaging with social and stuff like that. So it turned into that, and then it was like, well, we really want to give people like jobs and give people a chance, and like we want to be like somewhere for creatives to go, because like you said, like it's quite hard, and there isn't a lot of opportunity for filmmakers and creatives and stuff like that. So like, and now I don't know, like I'm so focused on like driving the business forward that success looks to us like success. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like it's why we ask, everybody, because it is such like, people say, oh, you are successful, but it's such a fluid concept. Like like everybody's different. Like we had a guy called Mark Simpson on, who's got a great company called Boostly, and basically his idea was to work a load less hours, take his family and travel the world, which he's currently doing. He runs his business from a laptop. He's got like 3 young children that and his wife, and they just like travel the world, and like he does like loads of vlogs and stuff. Like so Mark's a really cool guy. For anybody who's listening, he does like marketing, but for like booking.com and or what's the other one that everybody goes on to, TripAdvisor, and he does marketing specifically for people in that industry. So it's really cool.
Proper niche, I love it.
Yeah. He was on one of the first podcasts, so if anybody's interested, like that's still up on all the pages.
That's class.
So the second question then, since I've gone on a mad tangent, is have you ever had like a mistake or a failure, or like a perceived failure that has put you on the path or actually led to success or cool things happening?
I guess it's life is a roller coaster.
yeah.
But it's like up and down all the time, and when something really bad can happen, and like you said, it leads to something really good. But I feel like that happens so much that maybe there isn't like a real defining moment. But I think the biggest thing was for me was like, it was that moment of not following what I wanted to do, and then not going into filmmaking, and not going into and not doing that, and I became a support worker, and that's really great, and I was helping people, but I guess like essentially like I wasn't helping myself. It wasn't like fulfilling where I really wanted to be. So, but had I not have done that, I wouldn't have like been in my band, and I wouldn't have had the time to do that, and I wouldn't have then met Lou, and we wouldn't have gone travelling, and then we wouldn't have set up Wonder Films, and all of those things wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have been there doing that in that moment.
Yeah. It kind of taught you what you didn't want rather than what you did.
Yeah. I guess, and I was there for like like probably about 4 or 5 years as well, so it's like a really long time.
Yeah, and there's nothing to say anything bad. It's like I always say, like, you know, there's this really weird thing at the moment where everyone thinks like, you know, people are marketing that jobs are bad and everyone should follow the passion and stuff like that. For like 99% of people shouldn't start a business. They should have a job, and like, you know, this is
it's really freaking hard.
Yeah. It's, like, it is insane. Like, and that is a cool thing, and you should never be ashamed. Like, yeah, I've got a job. Great, you provide for your family. Like, it's not a bad thing to have a job. It's just that not everything's for everybody.
Yeah, like it goes back to I think this is my favourite phrase of the day, but horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I guess you just got to do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
If working in an environment like this place is insane, and someone working for you guys, like that's just like it's an incredible opportunity, and that and if you feel really happy doing that, then why not? It doesn't mean that you have to go and make your own because like someone else has done it. Like if you're happy doing what you're doing, then do it. Like ultimately, be freaking happy.
Yeah,
man.
That's the name of the game, isn't it? Really, that's success, being happy. So, and then the last one is what one thing are you like obsessed is a bit of a crazy word, but like really into or excited about, or
Oh man, like okay, that's a really good question. Okay, so like at the minute, I think something that I'm like crazy into right now, it's been like for the past year, is bouldering and climbing.
Oh, right, okay.
And it's just like I don't know, like, you get like super. I do feel a bit obsessed with it actually. I don't feel like that's a strong word. I feel like that is the right word to fit this context. Having said that, I also, even though that's like quite an active part of my life, I also am quite obsessed with like watching like. Well, I was like loved Game of Thrones. I like read all the books and watched all of that.
We've got all the books next door. We were just talking about it before you came.
And I think I got a little obsessive with like the last series and my personal opinion on that.
Kind of got let down. We would literally watch like a daft YouTube video of like the pitch meeting for the final season of Game of Thrones. We were just watching it the other thing. And everybody changes. Like if we've got you on like what you're obsessed by, I might change. Like I'm completely obsessed with buying Tat off Wish at the moment. If anybody's not downloaded the Wish app, I'll show you it after. Like,
literally, I have no idea what Wish is.
It's amazing. It is amazing. I'll tell you after. If anybody's listening, I'll get everybody addicted to it. It's brilliant. So, if anybody wants to chat to you about content or having a video or all that kind of stuff, where's the best places for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, that's also another great point and good question and all of those things. So there's our website, which is wonder-films.co.uk. That's in the process of being rebuilt, and hopefully that'll look absolutely mega when you get on there, but right now it's all like temporary and stuff, but you can still get in touch through that. Our social channels, so like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all of those things, if you search Wonder Films you'll find us. But like it's just like if anyone just wants to like I said, just want to chat, they just want to like they want to have a conversation about video and about what they should be doing and about how they can do it, and I'm totally up for that. And if anyone wants to buy me coffee, do you know what? Going back to that last question, my biggest obsession is probably coffee. I feel like I like it. Yeah, obsessed with coffee.
We'll make sure all those like details are linked down below in the description for anybody who wants to come through, so they can quickly get through the website and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a really cool conversation.
How cool has it been? Like this place is mega. I love it.
Thank you so much. So this has been episode 35 of the Teesside Business Podcast. The Teesside Business Podcast is promoted and produced by Person to Person Marketing. Thank you so much for watching.